Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host Gershwin and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Imperium of Man as we cover Imperial robots. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day. And if you have any suggestions or you have any requests for video topics, please comment down below. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Imperial robots. Imperial robots, known also as battle automatons, are non-sentient mechanical automatons used for labor and combat within the Imperium of Man. It was created as a result of the exploitation of now-lost archaeotech. The origins of the robots employed by the Imperium harken back to the earliest days of human technology, with the most advanced models presumably dating back to the Dark Age of technology, during the zenith of mankind's scientific prowess and technological power. Not much is known of this bygone age due to the loss of the technology with the oncoming of the Age of Strife, but what is known is that the Lego Cybernetica manufactured and produced large quantities of robots during the Great Crusade of the late 30th millennium. These robot cohorts were instrumental in helping to bring untold numbers of rediscovered worlds back into the fold of humanity, and under the rule of the Emperor of Mankind. The Imperial conquest continued nearly unabated until the realm of the Emperor was threatened by the unforeseen and unexpected threat from within, with the onset of the terrible interstellar civil war known as the Horus Heresy. War Master Horus, the Primarch of the Luna Wolves, was one of the 20 superhuman genetically engineered sons of the Emperor, created to lead the armies of the Great Crusade in their great task of reuniting all the human-settled worlds of the galaxy beneath the rule of the Imperium. He was the Emperor's right-hand man, his greatest and most beloved son. He knew he would have to secure the support of the Adeptus Mechanicus and their superior technology and materials if he was to defeat the Emperor and conquer the galaxy. Taking advantage of the climate of discontent already present with the Mechanicus over restrictions that the Emperor had placed on the development of certain technologies, the War Master manipulated the ruling Fabricator General Kelbor Hall and his loyal followers into joining his cause and founding what would later be known as the Dark Mechanicus. This included many tech adepts of the Lego Cybernetica, who were some of the first to declare for the War Master and follow him into treachery against the Emperor. The terror value of robots when used against unprepared and unarmored troops had not gone unnoticed by the War Master. This, combined with their loyalty, had made them an invaluable addition to the expeditionary fleets when bringing worlds into Imperial compliance during the Great Crusade. When Horus commanded his forces to move against the Emperor during the opening days of the heresy, many of the Lego Cybernetica cohorts at his disposal leapt to obey. When the conflict ended following the defeat and death of Horus at the hands of the Emperor during the Battle of Terra, these dishonored cohorts of the Lego fled into the dark realm of the Eye of Terror, alongside the traitor legions, where they remain to this day. Once employed by the forces of the Imperium and the Space Marine legions, robotic cohorts are now exclusively used by the Lego Cybernetica. In ages past, the Lego Cybernetica was organized into several thousand cohorts, although only a small percentage of these were ever active at any given time. Each of these robot cohorts were in turn organized into maniples of 3, 4, or 5 robots, led by a Lego tech adept. Numbering rarely more than 100, the number of maniples within a cohort could greatly vary. However, a cohort was usually spread across an entire Astarte force for several companies or a single large Imperial army force. The use of more than 4 or 5 maniples in a battle was rare, but not unknown. During the Horus Heresy, particularly large number of robots were committed by both the loyalists and traitors in the effort to minimize human casualties until a decisive final battle could be fought. In addition, the organization was further divided into a number of sects. A few of these ancient Lego cohorts claim that their robotic war engines dated in part, at least, back to the Great Crusade, or possibly even before the Age of Strife. As robots are often cannibalized to provide spare parts for their damaged brethren, there may be some validity to this claim. When properly maintained, the lifespan of Imperial technologies can span many millennia. It is indeed possible that the robot's legs, arms, or cortex have been in constant use for 10,000 Terran years or more. A legal cybernetic maniple is a virtually self-contained unit with a single tech adept typically overseeing the management of 4 units on the battlefield. The tech adepts do little more than give the robots their final wetware programs and then monitor their progress. However, they are also charged with the equally vital task of monitoring the progress of their maniple and to ensure that a damaged robot is destroyed as quickly as possible to avoid any possible danger to their own side during combat. This is accomplished by remotely activating the robot's self-destruction system. There are also a number of other lesser tech adepts attached to the maniple who perform all of the maintenances and repair functions of the robots assigned to the maniple, though their presence on the battlefield is rare. Possessing the ability to repair virtually any item of Imperial equipment, it was often said during the Great Crusade that these tech adepts of the Legal Cybernetica were worth their weight in spares. A robot like an Astarte dreadnought is the product of a synthesis of multiple advanced technologies required to construct its armored shell, artificial muscle, nerve bundles, power plants, weapon control systems, equipment interfaces, and external neural cortex. The forges of the Adeptus Mechanicus turn out many robots of the age-old design stored within the core memory of their logic stacks. For example, both the Castellan and Crusader pattern robots are known to have fought on the side of both the Loyalists and traitors during the Horus Heresy. The designs have remained virtually unchanged since that time, with perhaps only minor cosmetic differences and variations. The compatibility of their near-identical components shared with the Dreadnought simplifies many supply and repair problems on the battlefield. It is not unknown for legal cybernetic cohorts to have been cannibalized out of existence to provide spare parts for dreadnoughts. In return, tech adepts have been adverse to dismantling dreadnoughts, sometimes killing its occupants in the process when making battlefield repairs. As might be imagined, such actions are not well regarded by any Space Marine chapter, which should catch a legal tech adept actually killing a dreadnought battle brother to save his or her mechanical pets. Constructed from artificially engineered neural proteins and enzymes, the Cortex is the artificial brain of a robot, imprinted with a simple maintenance, task, and moment algorithm. The Cortex serves as a rudimentary mind, enabling the robot to obey simple instructions from its assigned tech adept when away from the battlefield. These firmware routines are often patterned after those which existed in the organic neural cortexes of simple living creatures. It is known that the robot commonly develops a canine-like devotion to its technician master. Before deploying a robot into battle, the firmware routines are overlaid and replaced with so-called wetware. This is the robot's combat software, which defines the commands of its handler. For example, wetware contains a set of algorithms that tell the robot where it is to deploy on the battlefield, or when to fire its weapons or detonate its self-destruct charges. This specialized software is held in small slices of bioplastic, no larger than a credit card, which have been implanted within the robot's cortex. Believed by the tech priest of the Mechanicus to hold the robot's soul, its machine spirit, many warriors on the battlefield are known to take these small bioplastic cards from the dead robots that have been incapacitated. They believe that by doing so, some of the robot's bravery will pass on to them. Even some Astarte chapters have been known to abide by this tradition. In many situations, a robot may be less effective than a living warrior, even though its reflexes and aim may be comparable, and it is a stronger, tougher, and harder opponent to kill than a human soldier. Literal-minded to an inhuman degree, a robot is limited by its programming. Whatever the given situation, a robot always follows its pre-prepared programming, even when such programming will not produce the correct outcome for the given situation. Where a human can easily adapt to the unexpected developments, a robot may not possess the mental abilities required to successfully navigate the demands of a rapidly changing battlefield. Like any other weapon system, A robot without its Cortex is as useless as a bolter without its Space Marine. Without any operational Cortex, the robot is merely a heap of junk that can only take whatever punishment is meted out to it. But with a fully programmed Cortex, a robot can prove itself the equal of any other opponent on the battlefield. In some situations, robots do not need a Cortex to be fully operational, as they also possess the ability to act as slave of a master robot, receiving orders by wireless radio communication from the master robot. The master robot is fitted with a Cortex and wetware program, which in turn relays algorithmic instructions to the slave robots, fitted with standard Vox communicators. Each of these slave robots follows the instructions of the master's program in turn. But the master robot must remain in close proximity to its slave robots, for if it were to move beyond the effective range of its Vox transmitter, the other robots would simply freeze in place, lacking the necessary instructions to carry out any operation. Should 6 or more of its communicator signals be jammed, a slave robot cannot perform any actions, and will freeze in place until further instructions are received. If the master robot's program or Cortex are damaged, all of its slave robots are affected equally. Communicator damage to a slave robot means that it can no longer receive or transmit data, grinding to an immediate halt. Any damage to the master's robot communicator brings its slave robots to a halt. Any other damage to the master robot's other systems has no effect on its slaves. Any number of slave robots can be controlled by a single master robot, although the usual ratio is 1 master to 3 slaves. When a larger ratio is used, damage to a master robot's program can halt too many slave robots in a single stroke. And those were 40 facts on the Imperial robots. Very interesting, especially towards the end. Did you notice how the master robot and the slave robots kind of have something similar to the Tyranid hive mind? Because that's how the Tyranid hive mind works. Of course, the Tyranid hive mind is a lot stronger. It controls more gaunts, and it's organic. It also affects the warp, but it's kind of the same concept. Which is another reason why I think if GW ever decided to bring the Men of Iron into Warhammer 40K, it would be perfect. It fits in the lore. It gives you the ability to have a horde army, another horde army I should say, but it's a really good addition because you can have either hordes to the extent of small robots attacking like Hormagaunts and Termagants, but at the same time you can have giant like master robots like one of the bigger like Hive Tyrants or Carnifexes, stuff like that. So it's something that would be pretty badass because it's just robot Tyranids. Comment down below if you guys would like to see robot Tyranids. If you guys like these videos, please share this with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever social media you guys use. I've noticed that with our play group, the more we talk about the lore when we're not playing Warhammer 40K, the more we want to play Warhammer 40K. So it's a really good way to keep your friends, you know, in the loop and with the urge to play the game. Because I know it is a pretty expensive hobby, and if your friends stop playing, it's really hard for you to keep collecting. One thing about this lore that kind of does contradict a lot of the other lore is that these robots should be illegal by the Ecclesiarchy, and I really do believe that the Ecclesiarchy would not allow or does not enjoy the fact that these guys are out there because they border along the lines of AI, which is what the Emperor strictly forbid. You can kill them off pretty quickly, but as far as I know, any type of robot that's a standalone robot is not good, because the potential of corruption by chaos is out there. And as we learned, the Men of Iron are the Men of Iron are a result of this AI going rogue. So that's why you have Servitors, which are basically lobotomized humans with robotic parts, and that's as far as the Ecclesiarchy wants to spread the use of robots. But of course, this is contradicting that. So maybe these guys are just a secret that really never, or not a secret, but something that never really went away because it's so usable. So it's so vital to a lot of functions that even though the Ecclesiarchy does not allow them, they still have to exist just because it would not make sense to have anything otherwise. But again, just comment down below. Let me know what you think. And thanks for everything, guys. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.